Hey everyone, I'm back. I know it's been a really long time since my last update on the repairs from the crash from World Time Attack a couple of years ago. Well, the car's finished now, and I know that you, probably a lot of you have seen my updates and realised that the rear has been finished for a while, but I've been working on the front as well. I put a new splitter on, and the whole car's been repainted. And I've also redone the front wheel arches because I wasn't entirely happy about how they were before. So I'll just show you some of the things that I've done. The new front splitter is carbon fibre. I've got these stays from, I think, Professional Awesome they were from. They're really, really good. These are like carbon rods. I'm going to put a carbon side plate on here, so it's going to stick up a little bit higher, but I haven't quite finished that. These arches have been redone. They were a pain in the bum, to be perfectly honest. These are just sort of eBay flares, but this filler panel here is all custom. It's kind of all right, good enough for a race car, but the paint looks great. The rest of it's pretty similar. I've put some ducting under the on the splitter. Not ducting, what do you call it? You can't really see it. But basically it creates more downforce on the front, tunnels, like tunnels on the splitter. I've also done the flares a little bit differently, so they block the air right at the front and it will open at the rear of the arch. That's to help with aero, and I've done the same on the rear. Pretty basic stuff. So you can see it's more open on the back than what it was before. I've done the same as what I did before. The bottom's all cut away. This is the new rear end. This was spliced on from another car, in case you haven't seen my previous videos, and it was joined around about here, and I did all that work myself. I didn't do the final coat of paint myself, though I did everything else, and I'm really happy with what I've done. I think it's a really good job. And I've also put these knacker ducts in, and instead of doing it bodgy like I did before, I blended them in really nicely here, so you can see this. So haven't driven it on the track yet, but hopefully that won't crack. I don't think it will. And this one's got a little cup on it because I'm assuming the air coming over here isn't going to be as clean as up here, so I put the cup on there just to help some air to go in. Another big change is the scoop on the boot lid. So I've done the intercooler differently, and I'll show you what it looks like inside there in a moment. So the idea is that we force as much air through here into the boot as possible to go through the intercooler, and all of these inlets are in high pressure areas, including these ones on the side. And the exit of the intercooler is now on the back of the car. It was previously underneath the boot, and this is a low pressure area. So when you have high pressure on one side of the intercooler and low pressure on the other side, then the air is going to naturally want to go from the high pressure area to the low pressure area. I've also got fans in there as well, just to help a little bit. I did quite a lot of testing with the previous configuration, and the fans did help a little bit. Not a lot, but it did help a little bit, so I've installed them again. I've also done the exhaust pipe a little bit different. It had a big hot dog on there before because one of the tracks near Sydney was very tight on noise, so I had to have that on, but I thought, now stuff it, I'm just putting a straight pipe on there like it was originally. The other big noticeable thing is this APR wing. I had a kind of like a custom bodgy wing on there before. Now this is a proper APR wing. It's mounted to the boot lid. It's all pretty strong. It's not going anywhere. And the boot lid now, the previous one was carbon fibre. I've gone back to steel with this one just for availability reasons. Previously the carbon fibre one, I'd found that super cheap, but parts like that are pretty hard to find these days. Nothing's really been done with the engine. I am going to cover in these top holes. That was just cut open as an experiment. That's going to be covered in. They were covered in with race tape for a while just to test temperatures and everything, and covering that up isn't bad from a temperature perspective, but it certainly helps with the aero. What else have I done? So I'm not sure if I told you before, but in the crash at World Time Attack, there was no damage to the suspension or the suspension alignment or the engine or any mechanicals at all. It was purely just bodywork. So I've taken the opportunity to not only fix the rear, but also to tidy up the front. And it had been at least 10 years since the car's had a coat of paint. And as you can imagine, being on the track, gets stone chips and all sorts of damage from other cars and rocks and that kind of thing. So it looks really, really nice now. That's pretty much it. And I'm also going to announce now that I will be putting the car up for sale in the next few months. There's many reasons for that. I do love the car, but I have decided to move on to something different. So, you know, serious people who are thinking of buying a car like this can reach out to me. You know, I'm not going to make it easy for you. If you really want the car, you can find me. Because that'll weed out all the idiots that are going to try and give me $5,000 for this car, which is not going to happen. Sorry. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I am going to take it out to just test it on the track, just have one last drive. It's not going to be to set any lap records or anything like that. It's just going to make sure it's all running and everything's good before I sell it. And I'm also going to go out there with a mate who's just finishing off his MR2 as well, with a new engine and a bunch of other things. So we're just going to go out and have some fun. Okay, here's what the intercooler setup looks like. It's very different to how it was before. Before it was lying down and the exit was through the floor of the boot. And now the exit is through the rear. So it's all sealed off, and I've got fans on there. Brackets for the fans, I made them. I made this bracket here for the water spray. So the ECU is controlling the water spray. Obviously it comes on at a certain amount of boost under particular conditions. And there is a water pump and a tank in the passenger side. I was using that previously, and I found that to work really, really well. So, but this time I've done it a bit tidier. Some of the wiring, it's not show car quality, but it's good enough for a race car. It's probably going to change at some point anyway, because race cars, you're always changing them. But I've tried to make that as neat as possible. It's all sealed off from the inside of the boot, so can't get any hot air coming through. The only way that air can come into the boot and then go through the intercooler is via the inlet on the top of the boot lid and also the NACA ducts on the side of the car. And obviously the only way the air can go out is out in the back of the car. So this is the same intercooler that I had before. It had a slight little bend on it from the crash, but otherwise it's fine, so I've just reused it. This is the water bottle for the intercooler and also the water pump for the intercooler. So what I do, I fill this up with water, or if I'm doing an event where I really need to be fast, I will probably fill it about halfway up, and because it's got a big lid on it, I can fill that up with actual ice just from the service station, so an ice bag. So that makes that water really, really cold. The pump then sprays it onto the intercooler, so it's an icy cold water spray. Makes a big difference to the intake temps, and it's quite easy to do. This pump doesn't cost a lot. I think I bought that on Amazon, and it's also got a it's kind of similar to a fuel system, I suppose. It's got a return line, so it's continually pumping, because otherwise the pressure is a little bit too high. So I've regulated the pressure so it doesn't overload the system and run out of water too quickly. So yeah, a bit of fiddling around to get that right, but it works really, really well now. And it's a nice and cheap, easy way to get really cold water onto the intercooler. Putting that ice in there is really, really good, and you just chuck it in an esky and it lasts pretty much all day in an esky. You know, when you take it to the track, and it's really no drama at all to put some ice in there every time you go out. Everything else is pretty much the same. I've got wide-in cameras and wide-in, well, I don't have it in there, but I usually mount the lap timer here, which is just an old Android phone that runs Race Chrono, and that talks to an external GPS and also the ECU via Bluetooth. So I've got a Bluetooth adapter here. It's just a cheapie off eBay, connected to a cable that goes up to the ECU, the Haltech ECU, and then I can get telemetry from the ECU send that to the phone, and I can use that in my overlays for my videos. And that there's just the wideband controller for the lambda sensor. And yeah, everything else is pretty... Nothing's really changed in here. This is exactly the same as how it was for Time Attack. So once again, nothing was damaged in here at all. Everything is perfectly fine. I just need to drive the car again. Now we're going to see if she starts. I haven't started it for a while, and I did have to charge the battery. So let's just see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's turn the ignition on. Okay. That sounds half reasonable. Let's crank her over. So usually that first time it doesn't start, and then the next time it will. Battery's low. Damn it. It's got a very small battery, so it runs out quite quickly. Oh, no good. Charge the battery. Okay, so after charging the battery, it started. So you can see it's running. You can probably hear it too. So yeah, it's ready for the track, baby. Sounds sick. Yeah, man. What's this down here? What's this? What's this thing here? I like this. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that sounds mad.